Boys, big day, big day. We got some big news concerning Path of Exile 2 Ascendency Respecs, the 0.2.0e patch notes, as well as my hot takes on early access for PoE2. Let's go. So yeah, big day, respecking Ascendency classes and more. As the week wraps up, they're saying we've pulled together a list of changes we're targeting for development in a patch mid next week. We've been busy making improvements to PoE2, and here's what's on the way. 0.2.0e came out, and I'm testing it, and although things have been much better with enemies being slower, I still feel that either player power is in fact too low or enemy health is too high. Probably a combination of both things, but let's continue. One of the most requested features we've had is the ability to respec Ascendency classes. However, something that was important to us is to make sure that while it can be done, it requires some level of effort. I kind of agree with that. The Ascendency trials have been kind of good, kind of bad. I've been like in between on both, but I know playing a new melee class right now as a Huntress has been more annoying than anything, but let's see what they're going to say. Redoing an Ascendency trial allows you to respec which Ascendency class you have chosen at the Ascension device, but only if the trial would grant you the number of points you already have. So I guess you have to have either the 2 points, the 4 points, or the 6 points in order to respec whatever points you already have obtained. You can't do that to get new ones. In order to respec your Ascendency class, you must have 0 points allocated in it, but you can now open the respec window at Balbala and the Trial Master, who are standing next to the Ascension device. So you have to remove the points before you respec the tree. That seems a little bit convoluted, but okay. I should just be able to say, do you want to respec at Balbala or the Trial Master? And then they should just pop the window open, but that's just me. Ultimatums that have 7 chambers and this grant up to 4 points can now be done from level 55 down from 60. Ultimatums that have 10 chambers and grant 6 points can now be done from level 65 down from 75. So they dropped the level requirements, and then they've given you guys that option as well. This change should be deployed in the next restart patch, currently anticipated to be mid next week. Seems like right in time with last Epoch's expansion as well. In addition, we have some other changes that have been made today that will be in a patch as well. So endgame, there is an unintentional problem with tower maps and hideout maps is that they don't currently spawn the rare monsters for the clear condition. Due to this, they don't drop the extra map that is designed to allow for guaranteed map sustain. So good, they're fixing that. We've added extra rares to tower and hideout maps, and also the extra map drop that can come from the final rare kill. This is not required to complete the map. Okay, cool. Crafting changes. All right, let's see it. Each new rune tier is unlocked. We are removing the lower runes from the drop pool. Yes, less garbage to pick up and filter. You'll love to see it. This is to stop you getting spammed with lesser runes at higher levels. We will adjust drop rates as that occurs so that you get a more reasonable number of total runes. Good. We're adding the ability to add sockets to scepters and adding mods to some talismans for scepters to allow upgrades to your minions at mid to late game. Even better. Even better, I'm sure Gazzy is excited about that one. Totems, they've added quite a few reports of totems not surviving at endgame due to not gaining as much elemental resistance as the player does. In order to solve the problem, we have made the following changes. Totems start gaining elemental res from the gem level 15 up to 75% at level 20. Good, just like the player. The Ironwood support also adds more maximum elemental res to totems as well. Good. For Shard Scavenger, the Scavenger reservation wasn't doing enough to be useful to players, so we made the following change. In addition to its current effects, now also restores 1 cooldown for use for all your grenades and grants a buff for 2 seconds that prevents your crossbow attacks for consuming bolts. It restores 1 cooldown use for all your grenades. That could be a good fix for the issue that they created with Explosive Grenade. I know they reduced the cooldown time from 7 seconds to 5 seconds, and then now using Shard Scavenger, they can go ahead and reduce a cooldown as well, so you can kind of get back that sort of like double combo gas grenade, explosive grenade. So I may be able to fix that with my previous build before. My skills in the gem cutting tab, when using an uncut skill gem, it was often annoying to find the skills that you were using from off classes to level up. In order to fix that, we have added a new tab to the gem cutting window that shows you all the gems you have equipped. Nice. This list of the changes are just the changes that have been made so far. These are not the only changes that are investigating, and they do not represent a full list of what players are reporting to us. Rue is a cat. So these are honestly great changes coming in the patch for next week. And we've had some really good changes already with 0.2.0e. The thing is, I really feel like a lot of people are giving GGG too much credit. And that's going to come off in a weird way, so hear me out before you get angry in the comments section. I feel like it took a lot of feedback from players, and I'm going to use the word feedback very loosely. Autistic screeching, I think, would be the best course of action for GGG to get up and start doing something. People have been commenting on my videos saying, you're just an old man yelling at a company. The game is early access. Why are you screeching like this? Why didn't you wait till 1.0? Why do you have such a big problem? And the reason is honestly very simple. I want this game to do well. This channel relies on that game doing well. It also relies on other ARPGs to do well. I want to invest more time into this channel, more time into playing PoE 1 and 2, more time into playing Last Epoch, and hell, even Diablo 4. But the thing is, if the game is not in a good state, and if game companies don't hear feedback correctly, and they don't understand why the player base is upset, then they keep making those same mistakes. I think a good comparison was what happened with Helldivers. That entire debacle where they nerfed a bunch of stuff, everybody got mad, and they fixed all those things in the end, the player base came back to play the game. I feel like that's what PoE is going to be doing as well. There are still some concerns that I'd like to see fixed though. Spearfield gets caught up in a lot of debris and things when you're trying to use that exact skill. I feel like the spears should in fact be moved around it as you press it and not just get stuck directly. It happens with Lightning Spear too. The spear just disappears into the object and just doesn't happen anywhere. I feel like it should explode even if it hits an object in the area. At the same time though, enemy monster health and player damage are in really odd spots right now. I just finished Act 1 Cruel. Yeah, I'm a slower player than everybody else, I know. But the thing is, when I got to the manor, enemy HP and enemy damage was way up high, and there were way more monsters on the screen that I'd like there to be, and I didn't have enough time for Spearfield and Rake to go in and do what I needed to do, and it was just incredibly overwhelming to try and play. Even though I'm in Act 2 right now, and it's getting a little bit better as I get more skill points and things like that, I feel like that build specifically needs more time to ramp up and get into a good state, as early game just feels kind of weird. Now that could be fixed if they just adjusted monster HP like they did with monster speed, and just either reduce the amount of enemies you encounter all at once, or just, like I said, have white mobs have much lower HP, blue mobs a little bit more, rare mobs, that's where you do the fight with the combos. That would be a much better solution than just overall trying to do some weird adjustment with all this other stuff and make us do combos every single time. Now, in terms about the game being early access, like I was going back to before getting onto this tangent, the thing is that this game requires so much mental input and understanding, and it's much more complex than so many other games out on the market. This isn't like some simple thing that everybody just says, oh, just make the number go up or make the number go down, even though I literally just said that 5 seconds ago. The thing is, this game requires so many other ways of looking around at things and being so varied of what the developers can't even catch, that the players in the community are in fact the beta testers. And if we're telling the developers, hey, we're beta testing your game, we paid for your game for $30 to be able to access it, you're also giving us leagues inside of an early access game, which normally is reserved for actual fully complete titles, and you're giving us microtransaction mystery boxes on top of that, so you're clearly making money off of the game while we're giving you money for the game in an early access state. We're basically at the point where it's like, hey, you guys know the kind of game you're developing, you know what's actually happening, so giving the excuse of it's early access really doesn't fly with me or a lot of other people in the community as well. So you can say what you want about early access, but in my opinion, every game that is live service is also an early access game, seeing as how you're playing a game that is constantly being updated. So that excuse for me is kind of an issue. Another thing I want to point out as well is I'm kind of disappointed in GGG at the fact that it took them so long to go through and make these changes directly for the game. It took us to get to a boiling point of 0.2 to say, hey, what the guys doing? Why is it in such a state right now? What were you guys even thinking? And to have a backlash of 72 hours to make Jonathan lose his on top of Zizarin, to then realize, oh my god, we're making a horrible mistake. And thankfully Giga Chad Mark was in the building to be like, hey, look, we're gonna fix it. The thing is though, a lot of these fixes came pretty much hot and heavy right after that interview. So like I said before, the people saying it's just early access, relax bro. No, the thing is, we paid for this game, we're getting access to this game, we're playing it, we're beta testing it for them, and if they don't listen to our feedback, then that's a problem. The other concern is, if they're fixing these issues so quickly, one of two things was going on. Either number one, we were just screaming so loud that they finally either shat or got off the pot, or number two, these changes were already into effect in the back end and they were waiting to see what kind of reaction the previous patch was going to be having for the community. And I kind of have a feeling that if people didn't get as angry as they did at 0.2's release, these new changes and updates wouldn't be happening. Just like if Ziz didn't do the interview, these changes and updates wouldn't be happening. They would have kept them in the background for a much later patch down the line, and everybody would have been eating shit, not having a better time playing the game right now. There are still issues, there are still concerns, but hopefully, as I said, we as a community still band together and continue to provide proper feedback to John and to Mark, so that way the game can in fact be better overall for it, and everybody gets a better experience, everybody gets to have a better time playing the game, and people get to enjoy, and everybody succeeds because of it. So yes, even if it's early access, I'm still going to be an old man with gray in his beard screeching at the top of his lungs about a video game because I give a fuck. But you know what? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Are you happy with 0.2.0e, or are there still more concerns for you like there were for me as well? And are you happy with the new changes coming in next week? And also, are you going to be playing Last Epoch when it comes out on the 17th? Lord knows I will, because I am having a hell of a time trying to get into endgame maps right now. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you next time.